Hey everyone, welcome back to English Express, the podcast where two friends have real, natural conversations in English, so you can listen, repeat, and start sounding more fluent. I'm Lexi.
And I'm Finn. Today we are talking about work, careers, and ambition. What we do for a living, how we ended up doing it, and all the complicated feelings that come with trying to build a working life that actually means something. We will be using vocabulary that comes up all the time when English speakers talk about work, so pay close attention.
Shadow us as you listen. First time through, just enjoy. Second time, pick one of us and repeat what we say right after we say it. Match the rhythm and the natural flow. Okay, Finn, what did you actually want to be when you were a child?
An astronaut. Completely serious. From about age 5 to age 11, I was entirely convinced that was the plan. I had books about space, posters of planets on my wall. I knew the names of every mission. And then maths happened in secondary school, and the plan was quietly retired.
I wanted to be a writer, not a journalist, an actual novelist. I still have 40 pages of a novel on my laptop that I have not opened in 2 years. So the dream is technically still alive, just in deep hibernation.
Most people have a version of that. Something they wanted that got set aside because life went in a different direction, or because someone planted a small seed of doubt about whether it was realistic. That shift from what you dream about to what seems practical is such a universal experience.
And then suddenly you are standing at the beginning of an entire working life and supposed to know what to pursue. That word pursue implies active effort, not waiting for things to happen, but going after something with real intention. The most satisfying careers are built by people who are genuinely pursuing something, even if that thing changes over time.
Let's talk about ambition, because it gets treated in quite conflicted ways. On one hand, it is admired. We talk about ambitious people with respect. On the other hand, there is a suspicion around it, like being too ambitious means you are ruthless or that you do not value other things enough.
I think that discomfort comes from confusing ambition with selfishness. But you can be deeply ambitious and still care about your relationships, your health, the people around you. Ambition is simply wanting more from yourself. It does not have to mean wanting it at any cost.
And it does not have to be about money or status. Some of the most ambitious people I know are ambitious about becoming excellent at something they genuinely care about. Those are real ambitions too, and they look nothing like climbing a career ladder.
The obsession with climbing, with the next promotion, the next title, can become its own trap. You get the thing you were chasing and the next thing immediately appears. You never stop to ask whether the direction you are moving in is actually where you want to go.
I had a period like that in my mid-20s. Very focused on moving up quickly, being seen as capable and productive. It worked externally. I did move up, but I was exhausted and not entirely sure why I was doing it. That is a description of early-stage burnout.
Burnout is what happens when you work so hard toward a goal that you stop checking whether the goal still makes sense. The signals are there. Tiredness that sleep does not fix, a flat feeling about things that used to excite you. But most people ignore them for far too long.
Because there is a culture in a lot of workplaces that treats overworking as a badge of honor. The person who replies to emails at midnight, who never takes a sick day, that person gets spoken about with admiration, and it sends a terrible message about what genuine commitment should look like.
Work-life balance points at something genuinely important. The idea that work is part of a full life, not the thing your full life is supposed to serve. That you are more than what you produce professionally. And when the boundary between the two dissolves entirely without you choosing for it to, that is when things go wrong.
Let's talk about the way people are building working lives differently now. Freelancing is one of the big shifts. Working for yourself, building a client base, setting your own schedule. The autonomy is genuinely appealing, but the reality is more complicated. You carry all the uncertainty yourself, with no guaranteed salary and no sick pay. The freedom comes with responsibility that an employer would normally handle.
The side hustle is very common now, too. Building something alongside your main job. A small business, a creative project, something entirely yours. Sometimes it is financial, but often it is about having something that gives you what your main job cannot, a different kind of challenge, or the feeling of building something that is genuinely yours.
Networking comes up constantly in career conversations, and I think a lot of people have a complicated relationship with the word. It sounds transactional, like you are collecting useful contacts rather than meeting actual people. The most effective networking is just being genuinely curious about what others do and sharing what you know. The connections that actually lead somewhere come from real mutual interest, not strategy.
The last thing I want to touch on is the difference between a job and a vocation. A job is something you do to earn money. A vocation is something you feel called to do, where the work itself feels important, where you would still be drawn to it even if the rewards were smaller. Not many people find a vocation, and that is completely fine. But those who do experience their working life very differently.
Even if you do not find a vocation, you can find work that uses your strengths, contributes something you care about, and does not make you miserable. That is a bar most people can reach, and it leaves room for your other passions to exist outside of work, where they stay purely yours.
Your work does not have to be your entire identity. It just needs to be good enough to support the life you want to build. Okay, 8 vocabulary words from today, slowly, with a real example sentence each. Listen, then repeat right after us. Pursue. To pursue something means to actively go after it with intention and effort. She decided to pursue a career in teaching, despite the lower salary, because it felt genuinely meaningful.
Pursue. To pursue something means to actively go after it with intention and effort. She decided to pursue a career in teaching despite the lower salary because it felt genuinely meaningful.
Ambition. Ambition is a strong desire to achieve something significant. His ambition was never about status. It was about building something he was genuinely proud of.
Burnout. Burnout is a state of complete exhaustion caused by sustained overwork and stress. She did not recognize the burnout at first. She just thought she was tired and needed a holiday.
Work-life balance. Work-life balance means maintaining a healthy separation between your professional and personal life. After the promotion, his work-life balance suffered, and he had to make deliberate changes.
Freelancing. Freelancing means working independently for multiple clients rather than being employed by one company. She left her agency and started freelancing, which gave her far more control over her time.
Side hustle. A side hustle is a project or small business you build alongside your main job. His side hustle started as a hobby and eventually became his primary source of income.
Networking. Networking means building professional relationships that may be valuable to your career over time. He found networking uncomfortable at first, but came to see it as simply meeting interesting people in his field.
Vocation. A vocation is work you feel genuinely called to do, something that feels like more than just a job. For her, nursing was not just a career. It was a vocation she had felt drawn to since childhood.
8 words that all came up naturally in today's conversation. Go back and listen again. Notice how each one was used in real context, and try to use them yourself this week.
Thank you for listening. Share this with someone who is also working on their English. We will be back soon with a new topic. Until then, keep shadowing and keep building whatever it is you are building.
See you next time.